This video will contain no major plot spoilers for Resident Evil Requiem. Gameplay and footage will be shown and discussed from the first 3 or so hours of the game. Who do you think the first zombie was? The idea feels ancient, as old as the dirt the zombies crawled out of. But zombies are a relatively recent invention. In the 1920s, the Haitian-American Sugar Company, whose profits had led to American occupation of the island, needed bodies to work the land. It didn't matter if they were alive or dead. One story tells of a man and wife who had dug bodies out of the ground and led them like cattle to the company and fields. They worked by day and drank gruel by night. They did not speak. Their dead hands were cold, and their empty eyes colder. Zombie. Travelogues like W.B. Seabrook's The Magic Island carried these stories to American readers, but pop culture quickly abandoned these folklore origins in favor of other metaphors. George Romero's Night of the Living Dead made zombies a symbol of societal decay. Dawn of the Dead turns them into mindless consumers, where the hunger for flesh becomes synonymous with the hunger for goods in advertisements. But the most enduring depictions of zombies don't come from travelogues or films. As Romero himself said, "I think it's video games that have really kept the creature alive." Zombies are well suited to games. They're slow and mindless, which makes them relatively simple to program. They're indistinguishable from each other, which makes them easy to spawn in huge groups. And perhaps most importantly, they're already dead, which means the player never has to feel bad about putting them out of their misery. Zombies offer a moral loophole to fire at will. In 1996, the original Resident Evil led a resurgence in zombie media, directly inspiring films like Shaun of the Dead and 28 Days Later. It was also among the first to give zombies a scientific origin, the bioweapon and corporate cover-up, rather than a supernatural one. But for the majority of the series, Resident Evil followed tradition. Zombies shambled and swarmed and bit. You might choose not to shoot them to conserve your ammo, but you would never mourn them. Resident Evil Requiem is the first game in the series that wants you to. Requiem zombies, having been recently turned, still carry the habits of their past lives. A chef chops and calls orders to kitchen staff lying dead around him. A maid wipes her own blood from a mirror. A zombie sings, even if no one listens. Because your protagonist's grace is almost always low on health and ammo, it's often more efficient to slip past these zombies than it is to fight them, giving you a chance to observe them undisturbed, like watching wildlife from a blind. This mechanic was pitched as a gameplay change, where a zombie mindlessly flicking a light switch could give you a chance to slip by in the dark. It's clever, but it carries an emotional weight too. There is something genuinely frightening about watching a corpse perform a job, and something genuinely sad. It's the idea that our labor can become so ingrained in our bones and muscles that the body will move even when the brain is dead, that my hands will still type this essay, and the sinews of my face will still speak these words. The horror is made even stronger by where it takes place. A chronic care facility, both a classic horror locale and a place that has come under increasing threat from private equity firms that buy these buildings up, cut beds, cut staff, and extract profit from people who have nowhere else to go. The image of zombie-like healthcare staff with bloodshot eyes, shivering hands, isn't something found only in horror movies anymore. This strange combination of horror and sadness produces something unexpected: empathy. These people may be dead, but they too are still working off the debt that comes with being alive. The grace is only half the equation, and Leon, well... Requiem runs on a tension and release system. Grace trembles quietly through the shadows, and Leon just does not give a damn. The game's directors have spoken about wanting playing Leon to feel like catharsis. And yeah, it is enormously satisfying to blow through these zombies, blasting off gory headshots without fear. It's so exhilarating and so much of a release, you don't really think about how you once watched these zombies with pity, for sadness, or anything. Much has been made of Leon's seeming indifference in Requiem. Where once he backflipped his way to saving the president's daughter, here he watches a nurse get chainsawed in front of him and only offers a quippy one-liner.
Take 1 second opinion.
And I get it. Leon has been in this work a long time. You can't survive almost 3 decades of outbreaks and bioterror and watching people around you get torn apart and still flinch at a chainsaw. You have to build scar tissue. And I doubt that Leon Goes to Therapy, exclusive for the Switch 2, is the direction that Capcom wants to take the series. But I can't help but wonder what is lost in the transition of both characters and attitudes. As the latter half of Requiem calls back to series history, it goes back to those games' definitions of zombies, too, of mindless creatures to be gunned down with abandon. I forget that the zombies were a chef, a maid, a singer. I forget they were anything other than bullet sponges. I forget that they are victims of an economy that moves their hands and legs even after death. I forget about the dead hands in the fields. When Seabrook first heard about zombies on Haitian plantations, he was excited to report on this occult mystery. But when he got there, he didn't find the occult. He found, quote, the zombies were nothing but poor, ordinary, demented human beings.